What if you could build a mindset that was so resilient it was basically unsinkable? Today, we're going to dive into Stoicism. It's this ancient philosophy that's not about being some emotionless robot, but about becoming truly undefeatable. Think of it as an operating system for not just surviving, but actually thriving in a world you can't control. So here's the plan. We'll kick things off with the wild story of a shipwreck that launched a whole philosophy. Then we'll break down its single most important rule. After that, we'll see how it spread to literally everyone, from slaves to emperors. Then we'll bring it right into our modern world and wrap it all up with some practical things you can actually start doing today. All right, so where did this whole thing even come from? Well, it didn't start in some quiet university hall. Nope, it started with a total and complete disaster at sea. Let's paint a picture. We're talking 300 years before the Common Era. We're in the Mediterranean, a bustling hub of trade, with ships crisscrossing the sea, full of goods and money. So there's this guy, Zeno, a really successful merchant. He's on a voyage and boom, a massive storm hits. His ship sinks, and with it goes everything. All his cargo, his entire life's work, just gone. In a single moment, an event totally out of his control has made him a poor man. No, seriously, just take a second and think about that. Your entire fortune vanished. Would you be furious? Devastated? Feel like life is completely unfair? I mean, those are pretty normal reactions. But what Zeno did was anything but normal. Instead of freaking out, Zeno just stayed calm. He accepted it. He washed up in Athens with literally nothing to his name, walked into a bookstore, and started reading philosophy. And he had this huge realization. He couldn't control the ocean, but he had 100% control over how he responded to it. And from that single, powerful insight, Stoicism was born. And that idea leads us straight to the absolute heart of Stoicism. Seriously, if you only take one single thing away from this whole explainer, please make it this. It's called the dichotomy of control. It sounds kind of fancy, but the idea is incredibly simple. You draw a line in the sand. On one side, you put everything you can control. On the other, everything you can't. And you just focus all your energy on that first side. Just look at this breakdown. It's so clear. What we can control, our judgments, our efforts, our reactions. That's it. That's the list. And what we can't control, well, basically everything else. Other people, the weather, even what happens after we've tried our best. The Stoics said that almost all of our anxiety comes from wasting our time and energy worrying about that second column. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus just laid it out so perfectly. For him, this wasn't just some clever little life hack. He called it the chief task in life, the most important job we have. Now, what's really cool is that unlike a lot of other philosophies that were kind of hidden away in exclusive schools, Stoicism was for everybody. It was discussed right out in the open, which was pretty radical for the time. Zeno actually taught in a public porch, a stoa, which is where we get the name Stoicism. And just look at who picked it up. Epictetus, who was born a slave, became one of its greatest teachers. You had Seneca, a super powerful advisor to the emperor. And then you have Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor himself. I mean, from the lowest to the highest rungs of society, this philosophy resonated. And get this, they were also way ahead of their time on equality. When women were pretty much banned from studying philosophy, the Stoics were like, wait, why? They actually invented the word cosmopolitan, which literally means citizen of the world, because they believed we all belonged to one single human family. Okay, so this is all really fascinating history, but what does it have to do with us today, with our traffic jams, our endless notifications, and our career anxieties? Well, you'd be surprised how relevant it is. Think about it like this. You don't have a total meltdown when it starts to rain, right? Even if you forgot your umbrella. Why? Because you know rain is just a normal, expected part of life. Stoicism says we should apply that exact same logic to everything. Bad things happening isn't what makes us suffer. What makes us suffer is our mistaken belief that bad things shouldn't happen. Here's a super modern example. Let's say you're a content creator. You control the research, the filming, the editing, the title. All of that is in your hands. But the second you hit upload, the outcome, how many views it gets, what the algorithm does, that is completely out of your control. A Stoic would judge their success on the quality of their work, not the view count. Or what about getting passed over for a promotion you really wanted? It's so easy to make it all about you. I wasn't good enough. But you have no idea what was going on behind the scenes. Maybe your boss was having a terrible day. Maybe the company is losing money. Judging yourself based on an outcome you can't control is just a recipe for making yourself miserable. And in our hyperconsumer world, man, this idea is an amazing antidote. We're constantly told we need the next new thing to be happy. But Stoicism teaches us that tying our happiness to external things, a new phone, a new car, makes our happiness incredibly fragile. True, lasting contentment has to come from the inside. Okay, and this brings us to a really important point. Stoicism was never meant to just be some theory you think about. It's a practical toolkit for living a better life. And that toolkit is built around 4 core virtues. Wisdom, that's the dichotomy of control we've been talking about. Courage is about doing the right thing, even when it's hard. Temperance is about moderation, knowing what's enough. And justice, which many Stoics thought was the most important, is about remembering that we're here to help each other. Want to try a hands-on exercise? It's called voluntary discomfort. Try sleeping on the floor for a night, or take a cold shower. The goal isn't to punish yourself. It's about training your brain. It proves to you that you can handle hardship, and it makes you so much more grateful for the comforts you usually take for granted. It builds real resilience for when things actually go wrong. Now, to bring this all home, let's talk about one of the most incredible modern examples of Stoicism in action. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years for fighting against a cruel and unjust system. When he was finally released and then elected president, the world expected him to seek revenge. I mean, he had every right to. But Mandela, who actually read the works of Stoics like Marcus Aurelius while in prison, did the exact opposite. He understood the past was gone. It was out of his control. So he focused his entire nation on the one thing they could control, building a better future, together. And that's really the question to leave you with. If this philosophy can give someone the strength to endure something that unimaginable, and then lead with forgiveness instead of hate, what storm in your own life, big or small, could it help you navigate?